Hi guys! So it's drawing time. It's time to draw our next read, or my next read, anyway, for the PopSugar challenge. And I did want to draw from like the bag this time, I think. Yeah, the bag, because it's all been 3, 9, and 11 challenge. So like I said, I have all of the challenge numbers here, and I changed a lot of the books since I printed this out. Not going to do it again because, cutting up these strips took forever. I'm terrible with scissors. Anyway, so I'm just going to do it. Let's see what's the next read for the 2026 PopSugar challenge. Okay. I'm going to oh, there's a whole cluster of stuff here. Okay, I can't actually see anything. Okay. Oh, yeah, 35. Yes. I'm pretty sure I changed this. Yeah, I changed this. So 35 is, let's see, I have it here, 35, a book that makes you want to travel to Italy. Yeah, I've actually been having a little bit of problem with this prompt and selecting a book for it. Because the thing is that what I have here is Catherine Cole's Amalficers. And actually, I started to listen to this last year, and I wasn't that keen on it. So I've been kind of putting off and thinking about changing it to, what was it? Because I've been, so a couple of years ago, I started this series. What was her name? Donna Leon. I knew it was some short. Yeah, I read Death at La Fenice by Donna Leon, which is the first book in the Commissario Guido Brunetti series. And this is again from the last millennium, because I was like, oh, finally I've read a book from this millennium for my previous book, The Maid. And yeah, well, the next one looks like it's going to be another one. So the thing is that I listen to audiobooks, and the next one in the series would be Death in a Strange Country, which is actually very interesting because it involves American soldiers in Italy. Because the thing is that this takes place in Venice, and I've actually been to Venice for 2 days, and it's pretty cool. And I normally, I don't read contemporary, I read mystery, sci-fi, and fantasy. And most of the prompts don't actually take to sci-fi or fantasy. So most of the books that I picked are mysteries. And the Amalfi Curse is kind of like a fantasy, but yeah, I just wasn't liking it much. So I decided to change it to this one. But the thing about this is that it's not really available in my country as an audiobook. So Audible says, not in your country, girl. And I did find it somewhere, which is in a service called Voxa, which I've heard is a Romanian-based service. And they do have books in English. And so I'll probably need to get it through them. I'll have to do a subscription. I think they did have some first 3 months cheap or something like that. I'll look into that. But yeah, it's not going to be that easy to find it. Yeah, sometimes it sucks to live in my country because not everything is available, and I have no idea why not. Someone has the rights and is sitting on it. Like, there's another book that I couldn't find anywhere, just other than a physical copy, because someone is sitting on the audiobook rights. So yeah, And don't tell me to use a VPN, because most of the time sites do see if you use a VPN. I used to have one, but it didn't really work properly, so I just canceled it. Anyway, so yeah, my next read is going to be, let's check again. Oh yeah, and don't tell me to use Libby, because Libby doesn't work in my country either, or Hoopla, or Spotify. So yeah, it's in the Commissario Brunetti series, and it's called Death in a Strange Country. So that's going to be the next book, and this was also written in the 90s. And actually, that was very interesting in the first book in the series, because they didn't have cell phones. And that was like amazing, because the guy actually had to like go had to call the station from like pay phones and stuff like that, or had to go back to the station, because also, email really wasn't the thing either. So it was really weird. It felt like, reading something, and I was alive back then, so I remember, but I was just a kid, and it's kind of weird to read of a time which was so different and not so long ago. So yeah, I'm excited to go back to this, and I actually had a feeling that this was going to be my next book. So apparently, I'm a precog. So if you want to find out how I'm going to like Donna Leon's Death in a Strange Country, then subscribe or whatever, follow me, and make sure to tune into the next video, which is going to be the review. So thanks for watching, and keep your eye out for the review video. Bye! Hi guys! This is a review of Death in a Strange Country by Donna Leon. This is the second book in the Commissario Brunetti series, and I read the first book many, many years ago. That was Death at La Fenice. And I really liked that book because it had a kind of interesting ending, a kind of ending where, what's legal isn't always moral, and what's moral isn't always legal, that sort of thing. So I was excited to get back into the series. I actually read this for the 2026 PopSugar Reading Challenge, and the prompt was prompt number 35. It was a book that makes you want to travel to Italy, or something to that effect. And the thing is, I always want to travel to Italy. I've been there 11 times. And I'm also learning Italian, but there's never a moment in my life when I don't want to be in Italy. So I chose this book because I'm not a romance reader. I like murder and sci-fi and fantasies and biographies. So I was having a hard time with this one because there were so many romance books to pick from. And then I remembered this series, and I was like, oh, why don't I just read the next one? Because I remember that, Venice, I've been there twice. So, 2 days, actually. Actually, I have been there twice, because I was there. Actually, this book was written in 1993, and I was in Venice in 1994. So just a year after. Isn't that interesting? And actually, that's not the only coincidence regarding this book, because this book, it starts out with Brunetti being called in like very early morning to a body that they just got out of the canal. And it turns out to be the body of an American soldier in Venice. And so at the start, I wasn't really sure where this mystery was going. And then actually, as it progressed, it turned out to be more about corruption and how integrated it is into the fabric of Italy than anything else. And that was actually also very interesting because, as I mentioned, I'm learning Italian, and I'm going towards a P2 level. And in my book, there was a just like a couple of weeks ago, we finished that unit, which was about Italian history. And it actually talked a lot about this period of Italian history in the early 90s, which was sort of like a very sort of prime period for corruption. And also it was when they started to like unravel the corruption. And it was also towards the end of a very intense sort of like mafia war era, where a lot of people were dying, and innocent bystanders too. And but this was towards the end of that part. It started somewhere in the 60s, and then towards this period it was ending, and the whole thing was like quieting down. And so that's actually very interesting. I happened upon this, like I have connections to this book in two ways. And this book is not a happy book. It's more like a sad book, not just the corruption, because that's partly what it makes sad, because, you know, because of the corruption, it's not so easy to, you know, get justice. And also because that American soldier, he's not the only person who dies in this book. There's a lot more death in this book than it was in the first one. But it makes sense. And I kind of liked that this wasn't like just your average run-of-the-mill whodunit, but that this was also talking about societal problems and also some environmental problems. Trying not to spoil here, but that also comes up. And so yeah, that was very interesting, especially because you know, it was written. Oh my God, it was written 30 years ago. I'm not that old. Yes, I am. I'm very old. But let's talk about the more lighthearted parts of this book now. So I really enjoyed that. We also get to see more of Brunetti's home life. His wife, Paula, is a lovely woman, and I really enjoyed their moments together. They've been together for at least 15 years. They have two kids, one entering teenage, one is like 15. So that's why I'm saying they've been married at least 15 years. And that was very interesting. And it was kind of like some of their moments were very warm and very like, you know, just settled married couple that you just see and you go like, oh, why did I have that? Yeah, it made me wish I had that, but I'm single. And yeah, and so that was very pleasant. But also Paula's family, I didn't know, I didn't remember, maybe it was in the first book, that she's actually a countess. Her dad is a count, so that was interesting. And her family does kind of play a bit of a role in the story. And also another kind of like moments, especially in the beginning where I laughed out loud, was like this sort of like I watched Baywatch, so I know Americans. And the fun thing is that the author is actually immigrant to Italy. She's an American originally. And but it really gave like Baywatch. I saw Baywatch, so I saw Americans kind of thing. Because when the coroner he sees this man and you know, this American soldier, and he goes like, oh, he's so fit, like I don't know anyone who's this fit. And then they find some American money in his pocket, and they go like, oh, he must be American. That explains how fit he is, because Americans take very good care of their bodies and they're always very fit. I was like, you watched Baywatch, didn't you? I'm not even actually sure if Baywatch was on, but you know, back then you couldn't see a single person over BMI of like 20 in American TVs and stuff. So yeah, and also there are more comments like this about how fit Americans are, because then this part of this book actually happens in an American base in Vicenza. I'm not sure if that's actually still running. I tried to look it up, but I just couldn't find if it's running or not. But it talks about very interesting how they bought their culture. And I did actually check the aerial thing in Google Maps. So probably that's why some of it is at least not functioning anymore, because there was an American football field. Like, American football field in Italy. Now I've seen everything. And it's funny because they say like, oh, we have a Burger King and everything. So that was funny. So yeah, there were some a little bit of, I don't know, it's like they weren't trying to be jabs at Americans, because they were like very praising things, but then especially reading this now, it was like, yeah. Anyway, just a shout out. I did listen to this as an audiobook. The other book narrator was kind of like, at first I wasn't sure about him because he sounds like an older guy. But I grew to like really like him, and he's bilingual because he says the Italian parts perfectly as well. And I was very proud of myself when I could understand some of that. Also, there was a very fun part about accents in it. If you know Italian, you know. Anyway, so overall, I give this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was a bit heavier than I was expecting, and especially for a book that makes you want to travel to Italy. But anything makes me want to travel to Italy, so it's like, it's fine. I enjoyed it. That's the important part. So I recommend this series to anyone who likes a bit more serious detective and crime stories, and who doesn't mind that there aren't any cell phones. And this series is actually still ongoing. I think it's up to like 32 books or something now. So it's really, if you get into it, you have plenty of reading material. So that was Death in a Strange Country, and I'm not sure if the strange country is actually Italy or the American base, because they sometimes call it, oh, I've been to America. I think maybe both are. So check out my next video. I'm going to draw the next book for the 2026 PopSugar Reading Challenge, and we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to read next. That's so exciting always. And for my full review, go to my Blogger site or my Goodreads or my Storygraph. I'm actually considering doing Fable. Should I do Fable? What do you guys think? I'm not sure if I want to go on a third site. Well, third, review thing. Maybe. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Should I go on Fable? Bye, guys.